If you haven't been living under a rock, then you've probably heard of Jeff Bezos, the billionaire who made headlines as the first person in history to have a net worth of over $200 billion and who currently holds the title of the world's richest person, earning an incredible $13 million per hour? But what if I were to tell you that there was someone in history whose wealth surpasses Bezos by an immense margin, so much so that their wealth is deemed inconceivable, incalculable, and unfathomable by many experts, and is considered unlikely to ever be surpassed? Today, we'll be telling the tale of Mansa Musa, the king of Mali, and the richest person to ever exist. Europe versus Africa. Imagine yourself transported back to the 14th century in Europe, where the bubonic plague was wreaking havoc, wiping out entire cities and taking 1/3 of the population with it. War was rampant, leaving behind a trail of death, while the streets were filled with garbage and feces. Life was not easy during that time. But if you were to venture south to Africa, the situation was vastly different. The economy was thriving, with mosques being erected, universities being built, and art being created and distributed across the continent. Leading this prosperous time was Musa Kita I, who later became known as Mansa Musa after he took over the Kingdom of Mali in 1312 BCE. The rise of the Mali Empire. Mansa Musa's rule saw the Kingdom of Mali expand to cover modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Niger, Gambia, Nigeria, Chad, Burkina Faso, and Mauritania, spanning a massive 2,000 miles. The land was abundant with resources that made Mali and Mansa Musa incredibly wealthy. It's believed that during his rule, the Mali Empire controlled half of the world's gold. If a kingdom controlled half of the world's gold today, they would be worth over $5 trillion, twice the GDP of the United Kingdom. Mansa Musa's empire was not limited to just gold, but also had controlled over other resources. The kingdom spanned from the Atlantic to the Sahara, encompassing various terrains and their resources such as salt and ivory. Mansa Musa enlarged the territory, incorporating 24 cities, including Timbuktu, thereby enhancing trade. The king was known to conquer new lands to increase the wealth of his kingdom. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca. His wealth was so immense that it would make modern billionaires feel poor. The most flamboyant demonstration of his wealth was during his pilgrimage to Mecca. As a devout Muslim, he completed his religious duty in unparalleled luxury. Unlike the commoners who made the journey on foot or camels, Mansa Musa traveled in grandeur, accompanied by a massive entourage that took care of all his needs. He was accompanied by a massive caravan of 6,000 people, including 1,000 attendants, of which 500 were solely dedicated to serving his head wife, and 500 slaves. These slaves carried golden staffs weighing 6 pounds each, which added up to a staggering 3,000 pounds of gold. Additionally, there were 100 camels carrying 300 pounds of gold each, equating to around 30,000 pounds worth of gold, translating to roughly $888 million in today's currency, with the golden staffs adding up to nearly $970 million, almost reaching $1 billion, all in Mansa Musa's possession. The journey of Mansa Musa to Mecca was an extravaganza of wealth that demonstrated his immense fortune. Along the way, the caravan would stop in foreign cities, where they would go on shopping, purchasing pound after pound of gourmet foods, high-end clothing, and sweet treats. At a time when much of Europe was struggling to find enough to eat, Mansa Musa was tossing his wealth around like there was no tomorrow. His lavish spending habits weren't limited to just purchasing goods. He was well known for distributing wealth to the needy and various establishments as he traversed through different settlements. Mansa Musa's visit to Cairo. Mansa Musa's journey was marked by a constant flow of gold, and when he arrived in Cairo, the impact of his wealth was felt everywhere. He initially planned to travel quickly through Cairo on his way to Mecca, but Sultan al-Nasir demanded that he stay and meet him. Thus, Mansa Musa ended up spending 3 months in a palace in Cairo, squandering his wealth and indulging in the luxurious lifestyle that comes with being a king. But when he finally decided to depart from Cairo, the aftermath of his lavish spending was felt throughout the city and its economy. His abundance of gold had such a profound impact that it actually caused the value of gold to decrease, a situation that took the Empire of Egypt a full 12 years to bounce back from. It's mind-boggling to think that one man's wealth could have such a massive impact on the financial stability of a whole kingdom. Aside from just spreading his wealth, Mansa Musa's journey also spread the word of his wealth to the world. The Mali Empire was relatively unknown before his travels. But after the rest of the world caught a glimpse of the money he had to spare, it became the subject of fascination and curiosity. How his wealth changed the world. After his grand journey, the king of Mali, Mansa Musa, wasn't done with his spending spree. On his travels, he acquired some of the greatest creative minds of his time, including artists, poets, scholars, and architects. Upon his return, he put them to work, constructing numerous mosques, universities, and palaces to make his cities even more magnificent. One of the most prominent architectural feats was the Jingura Bir Mosque, commissioned by the king himself. This mosque was not just an ordinary mosque, but one of the largest and most awe-inspiring in the entire African continent. Mansa Musa's passion for education and his vision to advance the people of his empire resulted in the creation of Sankore University. This behemoth of an academic institution had a capacity to host 25,000 students, which is more than what Harvard can accommodate currently. Its vast library was one of the largest in the world, competing the likes of the legendary Library of Alexandria. The number of manuscripts it housed is estimated to be between 400,000 to 700,000, but some experts speculate it could be as high as 1 million. Despite dedicating a considerable part of his wealth to his kingdom, Musa did not hesitate to treat himself to some luxury. Although his palace has long been lost and no records exist to describe its appearance, it can be imagined that Mansa Musa's palace was grandiose, to say the least. However, the vast wealth that enabled the king to bring prosperity to his kingdom also had a dark side. News of Mansa Musa's riches reached Europe, contributing to the eventual downfall of the Mali Empire. By the 15th century, Portugal was launching naval raids on the kingdom, and colonization of the continent eventually led to its collapse. Despite the unknown extent of Mansa Musa's wealth, it's evident that it played a significant role in propelling the kingdom forward, for better or for worse. If you were as rich as Mansa Musa, what would be the first thing you'd buy? Let us know in the comments below. If you learned something from this video, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell for more videos like this.